Hello, everybody. Welcome to the seventh. I checked now to make sure this is actually the seventh, but the seventh episode of the Council. We have Sanjita, Tasnex, Van Seal here. Calvin is busy, occupied with real life things. So welcome. Um, I let everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll start digging in. So in reverse order on my screen, Van Seal, how's
I'm
it going?
Van Seal with my screen reversed today due to technical issues. But yeah, I'm Van Seal. I make YouTube videos. I stream on Twitch, and I pretty much focus on anything TW related and just whatever you're not supposed to do in the game, apparently. So
I'm very curious to hear about your GAC experience this last month then. Should be interesting. Tass, yourself. Who are you?
Hey, I'm Tasnix. I stream on Twitch as well. I also have Tasnix Gaming as my YouTube channel, and I am very GAC focused, always trying to stay inside the top 100 Kyber 1.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And you have a new video series I heard you just started as well, doing some sort
Yes,
of
I do. Well, thank you so kindly for asking. Yeah. Just, most of my stuff's very long. So this was an idea to try and capture a little more short content market. And it's just 15 minute or, thereabouts video on covering how to mod a character. First, I'm going over, the leadership and the kit of the character so that you understand the context for why we mod it the way we do. And then I cover some other details about, how you apply it all. So it's new, it's
cool.
fun. I'm enjoying it and people are loving it. So thank you for asking.
Looking forward to checking them out. Last but certainly not least, Sanjita, who is you?
Uh, hey everybody, pretty much just YouTube. Don't really stream, just the pre-recorded videos focused on Grand Arena. Do some TW stuff, more focused on roster development too. And recently this year started a new free-to-play account. So, and I also just recently got to Grand Arena on that account. So I have some Carbonite footage as well as Kyber 1 footage for my
Cool.
main account. So loving the both sides of the game. And you can just find me on my channel, Songeta, Songeta.
Did you do the whole of the last season on your newer account?
I did, yes. I
Oh,
actually got promoted to Bronzium 4 at the end of the season, which is probably not good because the last two battles, my opponents just didn't attack. They were like 8 million, and now I need
oof.
7 teams on defense and offense, whereas I needed 3 on offense and defense for 5v5.
That is a
So
huge jump. Yeah.
it is.
Cool. Thank you. Well, I am Kin. I haven't done very much in the last month except play the actual game. Hopefully, I'll be back to doing my little podcasts, the meta moment as we go through. But we'll see how the next few weeks goes. I think I should have some more time, but we'll see. So with that, let's. Oh yeah, you can find me at grandarenascience.com on Discord or the webpage, counters page. Let's go ahead and get started. So we just sort of started talking about this a bit. How did the last season go? I guess, Sanjita, since you were just talking about your new account, how did it go for your main account and your new account? Anything strange, weird, fun, etc.?
I think it went pretty good for my main account. I don't know if I went 5-4, 6-3. I think it was a winning season. But it was kind of a blur because, when you're doing two different accounts for the JC, you kind of get your wires crossed. I think overall it was good. The new account was kind of fun because I was facing like every account. I mean, there were some accounts that were like 1 million GP like me, and those were kind of easy wins. But then most of it's like Lightspeed bundle accounts where it's just a bunch of relic characters, but their mods are like garbage. Like I faced this one character that had like +3 speed on it. Like that's it, just 3. It was
Wow.
impressively bad. And then it's just like trying to beat these higher like relic teams with, I don't know, Gear 9 to Gear 11 Phoenix and a Jedi team with 1 or 2 relics, and then just a relic Darth Vader on a Gear 11 Palpatine. So that part was fun. On the main account, it's honestly, I'm kind of drawing a blank. It was kind of a blur. It was still like offense heavy. Um, I started taking Dark Trooper Moff Gideon off on offense towards the end because I figured people were looking at him as okay. I'm gonna see Dark Trooper Moff Gideon on defense, so I switched it to take it on offense, and that was fun. And took like Trey on offense a couple times after using that team on defense for most of the season. But yeah, it was kind of an even Stevens season.
Cool. Anything in particular besides Gideon that you saw that was on your main account at least that was strange or surprising or unexpected?
Well, we're gonna see this more going forward, but even without like the Gungan specific Datacron, they were still really difficult to beat. I had one match towards the end. I faced them twice. Both times they were like all R8 plus with all the Omicrons, and the one time I was just trying to like I'd already lost the match, so I was experimenting a bit with a bunch of stuff. It wasn't great experimenting because I preloaded after like one match because I tried Afra first and I was doing okay, and then the whole team died in one shot. So I preloaded. I eventually got it down to like one character with a Lord Vader team. And then the next match, people were telling me to use Malgus, and I did. And it was like, if we had a 6 or 7 minute clock, I'd win, but I timed out against like 1 or 2 characters left. So I like, and that was without a Gungan specific Datacron. So I kind of shudder to think what they're gonna be like. Like I don't even know what to overkill it with this first week. So it's gonna be really crazy to see them in action.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting too because in 3v3 they don't have nearly the sustain. I mean, they're going to be good, I think,
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
but
Agree.
it's going to be interesting. I faced the Gungans a few times too, and I had one friendly, well, whatever guildmate who faced my Gungans as well, and were able to sort of trade information back and forth again with no special datacron. But it's very what I've noticed about the Gungans, at least in 5v5, it is one of the most turn order dependent teams that you have out there. With the like burst damage that comes out, if you set it up correctly,
Like similar to Bad
devastating.
Batch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how it felt. But a lot more sustain. So yeah, I'm curious about the set. How about you, Tass? What did you fight Gungans? How did your season go?
I think I was like 6-3, something. No, like 7-2. I think I only lost 2 the whole
Nice.
season. They were both like real matches, once to Zid and once to Sasha. So good fights, but a lot of it was just Erodium. So that's just still a hot mess out there. As far as fighting Gungans goes, in 5 vs 5, Malgus, I probably took a little longer than I strictly needed to, but I barely won that fight, like with 20 something seconds on the clock. So, that was before the Kron. I'm sure that'll be less reliable this time. But the next match, I did use Inquisitorius, and even though I kind of just kept getting ponged between Phalanx and Jar Jar, just the sheer amount of AoE was able to chip down the shield generator, and pretty much like immediately after the shield generator dies, they just melt.
Yeah. I've seen JML work a couple of times, and it's sort of reflected in the stats afterwards too, to be able to just focus down the shield generator, and then it goes pretty
JML
well.
with like
Right,
the
it's
full
like 500%
complement
defense
of,
or something. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, with JKR and as many other good Jedi as possible. It's not a sure thing. Like the stats are not great. They're like 70%, but I think it's just because people don't focus the shield generator first, and then I'm not sure what to do.
Yep.
How about you? Van Seal? What did your season look
I
like?
finished with 6-3. It should have been 7-2. But I don't know if you guys remember, TB broke the game, and people
Yeah.
could not log in for whatever reason. So that one that I lost, my opponent only cleared 1 zone, so I literally had to just beat like 6 teams, and couldn't get into the game. So only got full cleared twice, so that was good. Didn't fight any Gungans, but I did set Bane the entire season with some interesting results, and I was pretty pleased with what I was seeing on .gg, and I really want to invest in that team now, and kind of kind of fine tune it for defense in the
You
future.
set Bane?
Yes, Darth Bane
Who
on
win?
defense. I did. It was Talon, Malik, Marauder, and Set.
Bane lead.
Yes.
What'd your Malgus team look like?
It was either a 3-man squad or a 4-man squad. It was either Revan and Basti or Revan, Basti, and Sass on offense.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, you don't need a full. I don't think you need a full Malgus team on offense, depending on what you're taking it against. Usually, I took Malgus on offense against like Resistance, like that Fin Zori team. Malgus kind of like
Yeah.
takes care of them pretty quickly, so you don't need Malik there for anything. But yeah, really, I made a video talking about Bane on defense, and it looks interesting. And I think it's a really good way to throw people off and make them overcommit, and you kind of playing that value game with them.
Yeah. Cool. I'm curious to see the stats. I haven't even looked at. I looked at a few teams on defense, obviously, when I was doing my attacks and stuff. But Bane on defense certainly was not one of those
Marauder,
teams.
I gotta give Marauder some better mods, because there's a lot of buffs that get put out from Darth Bane, and the
Mhm.
Datacron also gives your opponents buffs, and Marauder really likes it when there's buffs out there, because he gets a bunch of defense and a lot of tenacity and health steal, so he just becomes a real pain to kill.
Cool. Very interesting. Yeah, my season was, I think, a 5-4, but probably could have been 6-3. There's one match where I couldn't attack, or I only did like the first 20 minutes of my attacks or something like that. I had very little chance. For the first time in my GAC career, I set the same defense for the entire month. And well, I changed it twice. I changed for the last week. I added the Gungans, but that was the extent of my
Welcome to the club.
changing. I felt pretty dirty, I have to say. Like, it was not a pleasant feeling. But surprisingly enough, it didn't seem to make any real difference. People still dropped, 1 or 2 fights, but I don't know. Weird. I'm not sure I like it. But it was actually, I had a lot of fun attacking this season. I thought it would be a bit more Datacron dependent, and stuff would be, there'd be like 1 or 2 super teams. But with Bane, I mean, if you keep Bane and BKM on offense, you can kill virtually any 2 teams. So there's not that much that you really have to worry about. Seer and Malikos were still destroying stuff. So
BKM was like one of the only teams that I actually thought was pretty safe to put on defense, just because it's pretty challenging, no matter what. And then like people weren't setting their Lord Vaders.
yeah,
Everyone is BKM just in case.
that's the thing. If I would have changed my defense around, I'm almost positive my BKM would have gone on defense. There aren't a lot of great options for it. But I mostly just built my offense and put other stuff on defense, and then that managed pretty well throughout the season.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Who's BKM?
Bo-Katan Mandalore.
Bo-Katan
God.
Mandalore.
Okay, I haven't heard her
And
acronym
she-
yet. I hear BKM, I'm thinking Burger King Man or something. I'm like, BKM.
Yes, I
It's a new
thought
unlock,
the same
yeah.
thing. When I'd see it written, I thought like Burger King manager or something.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well,
Okay.
So that team was really good on defense, but with this resistance cron that came out here, and that a lot of folks were using in 5s, that just seemed to crush it. I had a couple opponents that I thought it was in their attack history where if I set down my BKM, it's like 65 done. With that Finzori, with the Holdo, you had to commit a lot to it, to make it all work like a song. But there was a couple opponents where I had to pull it because I'm like you, dude. I prefer it on defense because there's so few things that deal with it cleanly. But if you set your Finzori on defense last season, Night Sisters got to gobble it up for free. So if anybody was keeping it for offense, it was just a free dunk.
I had trouble with Night Sisters against Zori, so I kept my Zori on defense. I didn't check to see how it was like doing against everything, but like it was, I don't know. I think there was one where I barely got out alive, even with Night Sisters.
Fair.
I killed him almost,
It
I
was
think,
like-
every week with Night Sisters. I think you have to have a well-modded Marin because you can usually it's like 2 hits or something. So if you get an AoE or a mass attack versus Marin, she might not get enough TM to get a turn before they take another turn. But
Yeah, the most common the most common comp variants that would face there was like 3,000 against with Resistance Hero Poe, and then 1,000 with Rose. The Poe one was a 78.7% win rate, and then the Rose was a 52% win rate with Night Sisters. So it probably
There's a lot
was,
of
yeah, it probably
filtering, though, to be
was a
done.
modding thing.
Yeah, well, it's also
Huh.
just knowing how to use the abilities in the right sequence. Because I was seeing it like a lot of folks in the top 100 had it down pat. I wasn't that practiced in it, so I wasn't really doing it myself. But I had to plan around it in my scouting because it's like I see you can do this, so like I'm not going to give that to you.
yeah, and
Yeah,
Finn is
apparently I'm not among that number.
You can't be good at everything. You don't have the time to learn how to be good at everything in this game.
it is crazy too how good Finn was on offense. I mean, no real surprise there, but man, he would kill a ton of stuff. I saw him taking down some of the big Ray teams, taking down Jabba, BKM, obviously. Yeah,
Yeah,
kills a lot.
I almost always had it on defense. This is the first season I think I ever used it on offense, like 2 or 3 times. Like even once would be a huge deal for me. But yes, it was very much fun last season.
Yeah, once you get the TM going, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. How about the new DC set now? 15.
Oh boy. Make sure
How's
you
your
got
farming
make sure you
going?
got 30 of them. 30 15s.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
least
My farming's shifted a little bit. So I like discovered something within the first order level 6. I made a video talking about that. The first order level 6, the one that's like a big paragraph, it actually works with any team.
Hmm?
It works with any
This is
team
news to me.
as long as you have one
like
first order
the
character.
faction
Any team,
Ah.
any
okay.
team, any leader. The only requirement for it to be active is you need one first order ally on the team, which is kind of crazy
So
because
is that a bug or just how
well,
it's
if you
written?
read it, it's like if it's
How it's worded.
The way it's
Yeah,
worded is like
it's working as written.
yeah, but I think reading it, I maybe the devs were just assuming we'd all use like crew lead or SLKR lead or a full first order team, but it doesn't specify that the leader has to be anything. The leader just has to be present, and you have to have a first order
Yeah,
ally.
totally. Yeah.
So it really got me
What are
thinking
you
for 3v3, like you can do something like Seer Maliko's crew. And as long as Seer doesn't take
But then you're
damage,
just juicing up Seer, right?
yes, but as long as the leader doesn't take damage, a random first order ally gets damage immunity.
Yeah.
So if you give
Yeah,
crew
exactly.
damage immunity while he has taunt, that sounds like a fun time for your opponent.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So there's a
That's
lot
cool.
of creativity with that cron. Even like pulling away Red Trooper and putting him with Sith maybe in 5v5. So that one, I'm like, I don't know how people are going to abuse that or use it, but we'll see.
There's so many ways that I could abuse it. Yeah, there's most people, especially at the top end, have like
Lord Vader lead with OG Kylo or something.
yeah.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
there's a lot of weird interactions with it now, and you're just kind of like, huh.
And
Yeah,
I'm
and
going to be
armor
I guess I
rerolling.
need more of those than like 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the stats on this set,
Oh, they're crazy.
Yes.
the stats are great, but none of them are so heavily weighted as armor penetration. Like it's extreme the amount of armor penetration that you can build up again. And then like for this first week of Conquest, so important, like what Van Seal was saying, like just to get enough crons, like specifically like going getting enough level 9s, whatever you think you can go for, is great. But like having enough level 3s, because the bulk is just going to be just such a big deal. That's going to be like your base cron for any team until you can prove that something else is better.
Yep.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, there's no equivalent, at least in 14 and 15, there's no equivalent defensive stats. You just have bulk from 14 and, of course, bulk from 15, but no defense. So it's going to be.
Yeah, I was
very-
about to make the same point. Just because, like, set 9 that had the same abilities, they had defense in there, so everyone would get like 400% defense plus all the bulkiness. But this is like the opposite. There's no defense, and it's like every type of offensive stat you can think of. So it helps kind of counteract itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be messy. I'm very curious to see how the Gungans split up in 3v3 too, because the team that most people will have now, which Gungans are, well, Nass and Tarfool, not Tarfool,
Tarple.
Tarple, yeah,
Like the bone meta tarples.
exactly, as he throws his explosive
I mean,
thingies.
tarsals.
He use him de
You're right.
boomba.
Yeah.
But you
And
want to
who's-
know about 3 versus 3 teams? I actually just discussed this in the video I put out about Boss Nass, because about comps where you might use him in 3s. I mean, if you have Jar Jar, it's going to be Nass and Jar Jar, and
Right.
then I think that if you're putting him on defense, Boss Nass is the better way to go as far as the level 9 is. It's just going to extend the life of your shield that much longer. And then you have a case, it's like, well, if you're really trying to do all of that, maybe you want to consider throwing in Phalanx and then have, like a taunt juggle threat for a timeout risk. Short of that, yeah, it would either be Boombadir or Tarpals, and I'm not 100% sure which one I like more. I think the way that I mod Tarpals, I think I probably prefer it to be Boombadir. But that's it. And then as far as offense goes, yeah, probably Boombadir. Like, Boombadir is really, really, really good.
Yeah, you put that a ton of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been wondering, like, what is a way to split up? Nass, I agree, on defense makes the most sense. But what Gungans when you use for offense? That's if there's a way to do it effectively, but you only have one leadership, so it's somewhat challenging.
Well, if you're saying that you're curious if there's any type of Gungan split, absolutely not.
No. They need a second
Absolutely
leader.
not.
Yeah.
They're not. They don't perform under a non-Gungan leader, and like you just said, there is only one. So
No shield generator, no defense, and they just kind of melt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm still hopeful. I have some things I'm curious to try, but I'm not that hopeful. Just be curious to see what happens.
I would love to be proven wrong and have 2 well-modded characters be applicable somewhere. I would be into it, but yeah, I don't see it. I really don't.
And there's
But
a lot of
but you were
factions that are
dead
like
nuts.
that too. Like in 3v3, there's some factions where it's just like you just realistically can't use everybody.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But you were dead nuts right about that turn order thing, Ken. Like the turn order for the 5s team. Like the Phalanx is so fast already, and modding him to be decently fast and then faster than Boombadir, faster than Tarpals that is heinous. Because when he puts down, you tested it. You could test it in Conquest or whatever to see what the AI would do, but Phalanx will use the AoE tenacity down, and then you have Boombadir and Tarpals do all of their everything, and it's just a horror show.
Yeah, it puts out crazy, crazy damage.
And control and stun and a billion debuffs. It's just a mess.
Yeah. I'm very.
Since most people don't have Gungans, I know you guys are some of the few that have some up and running Gungans. What are you guys doing with Slicker this season? Because that's something I'm interested to see. Like if people are putting him on defense, if they're just using Slicker Kron, if they're using the Special Forces TIE Pilot Kron. There's a lot of options.
Definitely defense. I think I'm going to try and abuse that level 6 because I know when 5v5 comes back, the one team I'm thinking about in my brain right now is SLKR, Special Forces, Daka Zombie Marin, and just say, figure it out. Go ahead and figure it out. So I haven't figured out my SLKR team for defense yet, but I definitely want to try and see if I can manipulate that level 6 where, hey, if SLKR is the only first order character, he's going to get DI if he doesn't get hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine's going on defense too, but I have no clue what it's going to be. I'll figure it out tomorrow or the day after sometime.
I'm thinking since I anticipate everyone putting it on defense, I might take mine on offense just to handle the other Kylo Rens if mine is faster than my opponent's. Because like in arena, I've been doing it. You just kill the others. Like if you use the Slicker level 9, you basically kill the other Slicker in one hit. Like you just do the assist with Hux so that it dispels the advantage, and then it double crits like 300,000 each hit, and then the other Slicker just dies.
The
Even
thing
with
is,
all the
though,
extra health and protection.
I have to say in threes, even in the last couple TW, I guess, and 5, the SLKR or the first order DCs in general are not what I'm worried about. It is those JMKs with the Padme level 9s.
Oh yeah,
You are wise
That-
to be
Yeah.
afraid.
Thing is brutal. I
Mhm.
mean,
yeah.
as overall, if you have the level 6 and the level 9 and of course the level 3, stats don't really matter that much. I mean, that team, you can virtually auto, at least in arena, you can auto everything. And
Slacker
you don't have
will beat it though. Slacker is the apex predator of this set for sure.
Yep.
And
I
a lot
know-
of folks. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yes, I know you can beat it, but it'll still auto beat Slacker. You know, it can go either ways. If you're playing it on offense, of course.
And a thing that you guys probably are already aware of is classically like JKR can beat Slacker because you get 3 stacks of Beskar armor on him, and Slacker is gonna hard focus on him, and he can't critically strike him. So you're forestalling him from getting ultimate forever. You blow up the rest of his team, and then you devour him. It still works. It still works in 5s anyway. From 5s, like people testing that around. I've seen that, but like in 3s, it may well still work. So for any of you guys that are thinking of putting Slacker on defense, consider trying to set some type of JKR draw. If your opponent shows any ability to do
Creativity.
it, whatever.
Do you think Slicker is like reliable against JMK though? I mean, that's one of the few matches even available to me in Squad Arena right now, and I've got it like 40%.
There's nothing. I don't even have the burst one. I think you guys are right that half Slacker one is the burstier of the two. So I'm running the FOTP one or the FOSF one, whichever one that is that goes with him. It's a slam dunk. Like I would not describe it as close. I would not describe it as challenging. Like, do I lose a character in 5s? No, they just die. They just all die. Like even cats, like I'm just gonna go ahead and be stunned because
Yeah, and cat could also just leap onto special forces and nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Great. Like you just explode everybody with Slacker. So this JMK is like, I don't know what I'm all gonna do with JMK, but like early on, so I'm not caught with my pants down. Probably keeping Slacker as a get out of jail free card for that.
I'm wondering if Lord Vader will be good too, because it's all about protection disruption, and they don't care about that.
That's a really smart observation. Anything that's converting their protection to health is champ against this protection disruption stuff.
However, there's that
and
bug
then
with protection disruption where it doesn't work with Lord Vader if they get so protection disruption is weird, and I've gone back and forth with CG on this so many different times because they've changed it. The way protection disruption works ever since it came in the game. So the text is it disables and removes the protection bar completely. Like it just takes it out of the game. It's gone. But if Lord Vader gets bonus protection somehow before it gets applied, it stays.
But bonus protection still comes back. You can see it if you're fighting JMK mirrors. It doesn't actually take away bonus protection, just the
No, it says
protections.
protection. It says protection of bonus protection, and like it takes away completely. But it's never been a big enough issue where I think they've actually probably talked about it. But it just when you read it, it's one of those things where it's like it doesn't play the way it reads, I guess.
Yes,
But you're saying
I
that
agree.
in the worst case for Lord Vader, it might cost you whatever kind of protection up that he might be holding, but you're not going to be able to just take off a bunch of survivability off
Correct.
that team for
Correct.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing that makes that a little more challenging at the beginning, at least, is that Cat can ignore whatever taunt you have in place and potentially go directly after Maul if you try the Maul RG setup, but
Yeah.
it's sort of a crapshoot anyway.
The only thing I'm planning that's kind of interesting, I guess, is how I'm going to do Bane in 3s on defense. I'm really thinking about just dropping his Kron and just jumping to the new set and just saying I'm going to throw him with
Just
Sith Trooper, and then throw like a
you
pre-taunt
put
in there.
him with one Sith and one like Gear 1 level 1 character and hope they just die.
No, I'm gonna run the new set, I think, because the thing is he'll heal Sith Trooper, and Sith Trooper's gonna constantly get DI, and if you hit Bane, he's gonna increase his siphon, and Sith Trooper, anytime Sith Trooper crits, is gonna ramp Bane's offense. So they're kind of playing off each other, so to speak, with that First Order level 6.
But
And
you're
put in
I'm
a
assuming this is like a back wall defense. You're not going to put a pre-taunting Sith tank with
Oh no, I'll do a pre-taunting Sith tank. Yeah, so it'll probably be most likely be like it'll probably be like Bane set and then Sith Trooper.
Okay. Dig
And
that.
we'll see how that plays. But
The real Sith Trooper and the fake Sith Trooper.
yeah, both of them. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, if because Bane, the way Bane's kit reads, it's like his lead is he takes health like Grievous, but he goes after the other weakest Sith ally, which is going to be Sith Trooper. But if Sith Trooper is constantly getting damage immunity, and anytime Bane does anything, he heals Sith. Oh wait, no, Bane. If Bane crits, he'll heal Sith Trooper for 15% health and protection. So it's like he takes the health away and gives it right back.
Decent idea.
And we'll see how people
Yeah.
handle it, and then I'll just review the data, and then we'll see how I can improve it next 3v3.
I will be DMing you halfway through the season to find out.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea. Yeah, there's so many crazy things to do with this new set. I'm very curious too how well, it won't matter for week 1, but for week 2, how the what's the acronym for the new Padme? Q Quadme or something?
It's just Queen
QA.
Amidala, right?
Just calling her
So
the queen.
The
Q&A.
people are calling her Queen.
Yeah. Do you guys have any plans for her? Have you thought about what you'll be doing in week 2 and beyond?
I don't really have anywhere to use her because I'm not gonna be able to wail on the. I don't have Padawan Obi-Wan. I'm not gonna be able to wail on Master Qui-Gon. Which, by the way, I haven't had a chance to look at his kit, but I saw a notification. that it
That's
came
true,
out.
yeah.
It's pretty
TW,
cool, but
TW me, woo!
yeah.
I don't know how much it's going to do in 3v3, but in 5v5, it's awesome.
I think he'll be fine in 3s. I think Padme. I keep calling her Padme, and it drives me crazy. Ugh, Queen Amidala. I'm never gonna get that right. I think she's gonna be a disgusting team in 3v3 when everyone finally gets her. Just looking back at the history of this game, anytime you have a team that just summons an extra unit, usually just feels really unfair in 3v3. I feel like in
Yeah.
5v5 it's not
It's
as
true.
noticeable, but in 3s it's just like, and especially since that unit is a tank, like I think she's gonna be an absolute menace on defense.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it works out. I think the problem is still there's so many offensive teams available,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
with these 2 Datacron sets we have.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of why I enjoy 3s, because there's so many more ways to fiddle with stuff and to try strange things. But Yeah, yeah.
So I have a question for you guys, kind of getting ahead of 3v3. When fives comes back around, who do you guys think is going to be the fifth on that team? Because I think we obviously know who the trio is going to be,
Yeah.
and then everyone's probably kind of going to throw Padme on the team as well. But who are you guys looking at for a fifth on that squad?
Are they coming out with a new character, or do we have to use?
Are we
Not-
getting
not
the
that-
captain?
I don't
Aren't we
think
getting
so. They
like
just
Queen Amidala's
they just
captain?
announced that
Tanaka?
when Queen Amidala was announced, they said she's coming with 2 marquees, and those are Qui-Gon and
Hey.
Obi-Wan.
Okay.
So it's going to be like a trio team, and then probably Padme, and then the fifth. That's what I'm like. Don't know.
I don't know,
Zaris,
Mace Windu.
something maybe like that, or Ayla.
Clone Wars
Like-
Chewie.
Up.
Unconventional, interesting.
Another tank is nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
he has a pretty decent stat line as well.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Remove 50% TM on basics. Kind of fun.
Yeah.
The real question is, gentlemen, how do you intend to mod the queen? I'll go first.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if you fought her in Conquest, she is just a mess to deal with if she's fast. So my intuition is a speed set, probably with a 2-piece of health, and then speed primary arrow, protection primaries everywhere else, possibly maybe a crit damage triangle with good protection secondary, something of that kind. But somebody shared a infographic from the Gambit server, and it showed that the scaling, you know, we're used to like GBA scaling for the brute to be like only for health, and it'll be a good ratio for health. But for the Handmaiden Decoy, it's a 1.0 scaling ratio for both health and protection. So that means, considering her kit is boosting both health and protection throughout, the most survivability is going to be with protection.
Yes.
I know some players that are considering still doing health primaries to maximize the benefits of protection up, but I'm thinking to go like speed protection and then maybe consider that crit damage triangle. But that's about it.
I agree with your assessment. I made a video about Qui-Gon's kit today, and I compared Queen Amidala's kit to kind of like the way you mod Trench, just because the team does a lot of healing over time and protection over time. And
Yeah.
I think you just like there's not a lot of teams that do protection over time, but I think protection over time is way more stronger than healing over time. And if you just go full protection, it just feels like when they take a turn again and their protection part just tops off, it just feels like you're going nowhere and they're just constantly berating you. And like what you said, Tass, about Conquest, like them being fast, yeah, I think you want her to just keep summoning the Handmaiden as many times as possible, and your opponent's just not going to go anywhere. And here's the crappy part about the Handmaiden. She's not considered a real character. So if you're using bounty hunters, your contract ain't going to work. So if you use Hut Cartel or something like that, you can't land thermals on her because she's immune to buffs and debuffs. So even like something like Darth Revan, for example, if like you have Basti and you want to hit everyone with shock, well, you can't land shock on her in the first place because she's just like a summon. She's not.
Yeah, she's so annoying.
Yeah.
You just have to have taunt, ignore people.
That's what
I
yeah,
hate that
I agree.
decoy
Yeah,
just from Conquest. But like in normal Grand Arena, we won't have
Yeah.
5 Zealous Ambition data discs to get by.
and Qui-Gon boosts
Yep.
everyone's stats too. Like if you guys haven't seen the kit, he like boosts everyone's health by like 50% max health protection, and then I think it's like if Obi-Wan and Padme are present, it's like 100% max health, max protection.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, let's see where they're going.
Yeah, my plan for modding was just to give Lord Vader's mods to her, and then give Lord Vader some other mods.
It's pretty fair.
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
I think when she comes out in fives, though, I think. Well, I I don't really whale in the game, so I'm not gonna have Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan up and running, but I am gonna test her with Bad Batch. So I'll probably drop Omega from the team and see what they can do with the Galactic Republic Kron and the Tech level 9 too.
Yeah, that sounds
The
nice.
tech, yeah, I like the tech level 9. I think that's going to be one of the ones that has some really niche, powerful uses.
Yep, I agree.
But it's Yeah, people don't know how to use it, I think. Any other new, well, just talking about new things in general besides the Queen. Um, have you guys, what do you think about the new planet in TB? It's not GAC focused, but how do you think of it
I'm
compared
tired
to
of
like,
TB. I'm tired of how much time you got to spend in it, and like the later phases, everything blends together. Like actually missed some platoons, and I felt bad the last day because I thought I already did them. Because it's so
yeah,
similar, like all the planets. At least for my guild, like we'll like poke into like two R9 zones that are mainly just where we're deploying, but a lot of the last two phases are just on R8 planets, so it all blends together, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, five, like we have 5 planets open at one time now when we have both Zepho and Mandalore open. So
yeah.
I don't know. I haven't like really analyzed it much or even played around with it much just because I'm like, oh, give me a break. Yeah, I'm sure it is cool, but I'm kind of
I like
exhausted
them.
with it.
I like the missions, but just like Zepho, there's no particular. I mean, it just gives you a few more rewards, and that's it. Like nothing special, which I find sort of disappointing.
I want
Yeah.
them to remove in MLB baseball. I want them to remove the pitch clock from baseball and put it into TB. I'm like, give us a 5 minute limit on the battles because I feel like these battles go on for more than 5 minutes. And I want a valid excuse when I fail my missions and say I ran out of time. Sorry. Because these new missions do feel like they take forever. Like the Dark Trooper Moff Gideon one,
Oh yeah,
you got to go around the horn like 20 times. And I'm just like, it's just taking forever. And the only reason it's taking forever is because the AI has like 1,000 speed. You know, they just take forever. The debuffs just don't stay; they fall off. And it's not that the battles aren't doable. It's just like Sanji just said, it's just time consuming. And I remember like when I was looking at like my phone, I was like, we're attacking 5 planets at once today. I'm like, we got Mandalore,
Yeah.
we got the dark, the mix, the light, and then we also have the bonus one from
Zepho.
Jedi. Yeah, Zepho. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah,
I,
and
I
Conquest
asked
is out.
our like I asked our TB officer if we can just go for less stars, cause or like take a vote on it. Cause I was like, do we care? Like, let's go for like 2 or 3 less stars, and like 50 to 60% less effort or something.
I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know. I'm really disappointed with this TP though, just because when they first announced it, it looked so cool that they were gonna be like adding stuff, and I'm just shocked we still haven't got a second character yet. I mean, I feel like we should be on a
Yeah,
third character by now, with all the different paths. I don't think anyone's even really gone to the R9 planets yet, so it's like I don't know. I, I wish they would redo this TB a little bit. Maybe like when they bring in Zephyr, maybe replace one of the previous planets for a limited time. I don't know, but like try to keep you within the same time constraint.
yeah.
yeah.
I thought when they announced it, when they said new paths, I thought it was like, oh,
Choose.
instead of going to Kashyyyk, we're gonna go to this other one. Like I thought it was gonna be like that, but like
Yeah,
every time they add a new one, it's like simultaneous, and people stagger it out, so you have like this extra plan for multiple zones. And like Ken said, the rewards are not compelling to me. Like anyone that can or that is in a guild, or not anyone, I'm sure there's some people that need Chirotech, but like people that are able to get these done don't really need Chirotechs. I mean,
right.
I have like over 1,000 of each, like 1,500. Like newer players need that. If you want to add like a day one bonus planet or something that's easy to finish, like people would be happy with that, or like a phase
Yeah,
one, phase two that newer players can actually get to. But like I don't know, phase four, phase three, like you need R8 characters, R7 characters. I don't know.
I've talked to lower guilds before, and it's completely like tainted the way they farm stuff as a guild, and it's like there's some people that are like, you need to go for Jedi Knight Cal Kestis because we need the Kairos. It's like they're going so far out of their way to just get a little bit extra Kairos when they really should be focusing on like maybe the raid teams or stuff where you can benefit a lot more from. But yeah, I agree. It's
Yeah.
like I feel like maybe all of us, I don't think any of us really struggle with Kairos here, but we're all able to do these special missions. And the people that do need the Kairos, really shouldn't be farming for these teams because these are really kind of like cherry picking end game teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the challenge though for most players is the impression that most mid-game and lower players have. This is just my impression of their impression, so I'm sure it's off by a few percentages somewhere. Is that raid teams, investing in raid teams is impossible because A, it always requires a brand new faction that is effectively whale only, and B, the raid is going away in 6 months. That's not actually true, but like if you see what people are
Is it
saying
8
on
months now?
yeah, it is, and it'll probably be closer to a
Yeah.
year. But just the impression is, why invest in raid teams? I'll take what I have. I'll do it in a few minutes, get my 50% effort reward. When in actuality, I think that is actually one of the best places to spend your resources. Well, I agree totally with what you're saying.
Only if your entire guild's committed to it. If your entire guild
True.
is going to do it, it is an insane payout for everybody. Absolutely agree.
But in some ways, that's sort of the same as TB. Like if your whole guild doesn't do TB,
On the like end game raid payout, like it's good. It's great with the extra tier 3 currency. My guild does the 400 million, and I at first I kind of wanted us to go for the 600, but now I don't really care because as I use that, I'm buying impulse detectors and biddles and electriums, and my rate of signal data doesn't increase to match that output. So I have like 300 of electriums and zimbiddles and like 200 impulse detectors. And the arrow magnifiers, I still have 500 from the CPIT days.
God.
So it's just like, I don't even really care that much. Like on my main account, I don't care that much about the raid stuff either. Because even on my baby account, I'm getting the same amount of tier 1 and tier 2. Those are actually more interesting to me if they started adding more of that. It's kind of like it's like a broken system in favor of lower end players in that regard for the tier 1 and tier 2. And then for the tier 3, I don't know about you guys, I don't care as much anymore because I'm not getting more signal data anywhere else.
I'm super forever hungry. I'm super forever hungry. So yeah.
I have
I mean,
25 arrows right now. So I'm always buying arrows, and like once I hit 20, I'm like, I have to spend it right now on somebody. Like
Arrow magnifiers?
Yes.
My brother. Like I'm always trying to maximize some type of.
Yes.
If I have an R8 and it's like specifically not waiting for some type of new character, R8, R9, best believe it's getting assigned before the next week
Yeah.
lock-in of GAC.
And you're like, wait a minute, you have a
Incremental
driver's
advantages,
license and a ship? Oh, yeah, you're getting one too.
sold.
How many R8s do you have, Van Seal?
I don't know. I have no idea. I honestly don't. I don't. I have no idea.
I just feel like I will never be able to use my stockpile of arrow magnifiers on characters that make any sense.
What are you constrained on?
Signal
What's
data.
holding you
Signal
back
data.
from dumping all of those arrows?
Signal data.
Just signal data. Well, all
Forever.
of the types, like,
I am
even
forever signal data hungry.
And
I will say this: I am
this
signal
is-
data hungry right now because I'm at the constraint of farming Stap and Tarpals. So it's whatever
That's really set me back too.
whatever events come out that give me signal data. I'm at the mercy of that right now, but I should be done with Stap in about a day or two, and then the Gungan hopefully will be a little bit faster since he's like on a cheaper node. I've had horrible drop rates in my Stap. It's like I think I'm getting about a 15 to 20% drop rate.
Yeah, it's trash. I just finished it, but it's horrible.
Yeah, so
I believe it.
This is very interesting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sanjita.
No, go ahead. What you're saying, it might relate.
No, I was saying it's quite interesting the way that people spend their resources. In one hand, I also am not super bothered about getting like the most, but it bothers me that I don't get the most if for whatever reason that doesn't happen, because why would I not want an extra 10% in my numbers? That's just the way that they should be. But the spending on characters, oh man, if I can't R8 a full team if I need to, that makes me a little anxious. So I have, especially for this raid, I have a boatload of stuff. Probably can go 10 characters to R8. with what I've been farming. Like I'll keep. I only have 1 or 2 R9 materials, but R8 stuff. I'm ready for the raid to drop.
Yeah, lately my R9s have
do you
been
want R10?
GLs. Yes, R10, please, please.
Something else. We need some other
Please.
advancement mechanism.
Bring it out.
Yeah, I want more progression. I don't know if I care about Relic 10 or not, but I would like some more progression.
Bring
It's
it out,
been a long time.
please.
Yeah. Right now, the game, honestly, if the game continues like it is now, in another 6 months to a year, like GAC is less and less interesting because there's like no real feeling besides my pride and accomplishment, no real motivation to focus on top 10 versus top 50 or top 100 or top 250 or whatever. TW is just a time sink. The rewards are not bad. You know, you get Arnbind materials and Datacron rerolls, but either you're a TW officer or you just beat the fights that you need to win the fights you need to win. TB and Conquest are just time. Raid is time. No new way to advance your characters. Yeah.
So
I love
basically
GAC,
in the
but
doldrums.
that's what it feels like. Even with all the cool new characters we have, some awesome new like character mechanics. The meta is actually pretty fun. I mean, it's offense heavy, but it's cool. There's a lot of choices to make. But it's sort of for what?
I don't want you guys to hang too much hope on Relic 10. Not that it's not coming. It is. But like I don't want you to hang too much hope that it's going to be the change that you want, because whatever the material is that's going to make it, it'll be limited at first. Not everybody, you know, there'll be, when you're busy having one, a whale is going to have like 4 or 5, right? Like one of the big Krakens is going to have like 4 or 5. When you have 2, they're going to have like 8 to 10, something like that. But it's still going to be fairly small numbers. But if they were to introduce Relic 10 in tandem with like a board expansion or something, chaos ensues, because now you have to think about where you're applying that Relic 10 on a board where its impact is actually a little less now because we've widened things out. So it's got to be, you got to really pick it carefully. You can't feel like you can be a little casual with it.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't disagree with everything you just said, but like I feel like when you look at like the tower of power in this game, like Datacrons are at the top.
Yeah.
I feel like
All right.
Datacron's at the top, and Datacrons were introduced after we already had Relic 9. So I don't know if they would add like an extra, if they would crank everyone's Relic level up 1, if it would really change a whole lot. Now maybe with ships, it absolutely.
Well, that's
could.
my point, is that just the Relic level alone isn't all that much. You'd have to pair it with maybe not the change I mentioned, but some other change to really feel like we're moving the needle.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's why I want mods, because that affects everything. But maybe
You want 7-dot mods?
yeah, something else. Double the stats on the mods. I mean, that'd be stupid, but
Whoa. Yeah, no, that'd probably be too much, but you're definitely not the first endgame player I've heard talk about wanting 7 dots. I'm terrified about it because I'm fighting people that, like, I have good mods. I'm fighting people who have like 1.75, 2.5 my mod count for everything, for speed, for offense, whatever you want. But like I'm horrified to think about what 7 dot would mean to fight these people.
yeah, it's true.
I don't know what they would do to fix GSUTW. Like, I don't think board expansion is the right thing. I don't know what they do, because I feel like for a lot of players, especially us, like when a new character comes out, I really don't ever feel the need to get it, because I'm like, my roster is so big. There's multiple ways to skin a cat. You know, it's like if this is not the only answer to the problem they just created, it's like, well, this game's been going on for almost 9 years. I just need to look at my roster and be like, okay, that'll work. It's all about figuring out your path to getting the results you want. So I don't know.
But that's good game design, right?
It is.
We would
it
complain
is.
that's complete dog shit. That
Yeah.
every time they release the latest greatest thing, you need like the latest greatest thing to beat it.
Right. Well, for players that don't have a developed roster, that might be how they feel. So if they don't
That's
have,
gets them
if they
to
only have a couple
spend.
GLs, I
Mm.
know, yeah, and it's like the Lightspeed bundles. That's what they're for, which those are fine. I'm glad players are able to speed up their progression, but yeah, I don't know. Like I was almost thinking like, what if they made a game mode? I mean, I guess it's called Arena, but you know, make a game mode where it's competitive and there's no Omicrons and there's rewards, which again, I guess that is Arena when there's crystals still in there, but with the GAC style with like a bracket system, something like that just to mix it up, or maybe like it'd be nice if they brought back like a vanilla season where they say, hey guys, no Datacrons in the season or something. There's something to mix it up, something
Special rules. Yeah, I
Special
know we've
rules
talked about that in a
yeah.
previous episode.
special rules.
Yeah.
Just
This
to
isn't our
change the
first
mix
time
up.
talking about how to deal with this problem. And like board expansion is I'm right there with you. It's like the least favorable. It's the kicking the can solution.
Yeah,
But like I think we'd agree that compared to stagnation, like the problem that we've been having is we have too much for offense, right? So at least if the board is expanded, then you're spreading things out and there's a little bit more decision making to be made. I'm saying this is a grace to CG, right? Like
yeah.
give us something and buy yourself a little bit of time. But yeah, you talking about like special rules in Grand Arena or a completely new competitive mode? Besides, they've been doing so much work laying like a long-term future for this game. If they have to be considering something like this already, and I hope they are, because you're exactly right. Like the game needs something like that. That you all of you guys expressing your frustrations with that. I can't tell you how many, especially like top 100 players that are feeling it's like, man, this is stale.
And like this is the last thing I'll add to that is like that might be part of the reason why I play GSC the way I play GSC. I was told a long time ago by you guys all remember Clash, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
So we were talking one time, and this is right before he quit. And he was saying like, you know, there's no content in Swigo. You have to make your own content. You have to make the game fun for yourself because it's just rinse and repeat over and over.
When did he quit?
While ago.
Yeah, 2 years almost. I want to
Was-
say year and a half,
was-
2 years.
Was it before or after Conquest? Because before they did like
We've had
Conquest and
Conquest
Galactic
longer than
Challenges,
that.
that was like the real period where people were like, "Oh, there's nothing to do," because they hadn't come out with a new game mode in forever.
So
I'm not
But
sure
after that,
actually.
people were like, "Okay, we're good for now."
so he said like, you know, like you have to make your own content, and like the way you guys are talking about GAC right now, how there's so much on offense. Like I said, I throw everything on defense, even the stuff that's not supposed to be there, and it makes GSC fun for me. It makes GSC fun for me because I know I'm not going to full clear, and I know my opponent's not going to full clear. That's the plan. So I have to just get more banners. Like half of my GACs, I will preload every GL, not on purpose. I look like a total dumbass when I do it, but I will still feel like, yeah, I could still win. I could still win. We just need to get to, like, I could see the finish line. I put the goalpost here. I'm like, yeah, we just need to get there because I know they're not going to do this. I play it differently because taking everything on offense, it's just like, I don't know, just like what you guys described. It's really repetitive.
The thing is, though, I actually really enjoy the fighting part of GAC. Like the character combat is the reason why I started this game, and it's the reason why I'm still playing this game. It's just that all the mechanisms around it make me want to spend more time to plan more and strategize more and use more tactics and stuff.
I get to use
That's
my
what I
whole
feel in
roster.
this
Like
one.
I think there was one fight I did 16 battles against Lord Vader because I just had the worst RNG. Where like Maul hit Bam, but he hit Bam just soft enough where he didn't get the bonus turn or the damage immunity, and then his next hit immediately killed him. And I was like, of course. So I threw like 16 teams at Lord Vader, and lo and behold, the team that got me to a Soul Lord Vader for a clean cleanup was Ewoks. And I was like, oh man, I totally forgot Princess Nisa does all that anti-daze, anti-dot stuff. I'm like, oh, what do you know? Cool.
It's very brave of you, and I wish I could. I feel like I wish I could. Like when you're fighting like the biggest guys.
Yeah, in your
like,
position, you can't.
I miss that style of play though, man. I really wish I could. I'm jelly.
And I'm
jelly.
like, I'm in K1, so I'm like, I mean, yeah,
That's-
towards the bottom.
Where
They
are you?
widened.
Where are you in K1?
You can, Tass. You're not gonna get the top 10 technically anyway, because all these Erodium accounts you could just plummet and then see how
you
far
know
you
I'm
fall
trying to be
doing
the
that
very
same
best like no
thing.
one ever was. I have no loyalty to any strategy save for the ones that will win. So I am constantly doing whatever is going to work. But but if I
Figured,
had
like,
it my
mash
way,
catch 'em.
I would enjoy having much more on defense
So-
and getting the mud fight more. But like there are people who it's like if you set a heavy defense, they full clear you anyway for better banners. Like in the top, I don't know, top 50, top 20 of Kyber 1.
Yeah.
Like-
you can't really hold. But
It's
Yeah.
mud, bro. I miss it. I'm just saying I miss
So-
that kind of
you should go slumming. You should go slumming.
Well,
Down in
here's the thing: you
lower-
might be able to. So I don't
lower
know.
ranks.
I don't think we've talked about this yet. But you remember when CG said they're going to adjust K1 to let more people in? And this might give you guys
There's
perspective.
a lot
where
more
I'm in,
people in.
in K1.
Yeah,
I think I'm
there's
like
done.
rank 3,800 or something. Like I'm in K1, but K1 is
It's
wide.
big, yeah,
it's
yeah.
big now. I remember
I'm
there was a point
wondering
where
if
we
they're
didn't
gonna
have.
make like another rung up the ladder sometimes.
I remember like before they made the changes, there wasn't even 1,000 players in K1,
Right, yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
There was a little over 1,000, but yeah, it was way smaller.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
And
I'm like,
it's stabilized now. It's I think
Now
the
you
last
can't.
3
Now you
weeks
can't
it's
be
stabilized.
elitist by just saying you're in Kyber 1.
Right,
That's
right.
right.
All
That's
changed.
right.
right. But like to my point, I was saying like I'm still getting the same crystal payout, so I'm like, I'm not in the top 100,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I get to roll around the mud with Ewoks and Lord Vader.
I respect it.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Well, on that note, has anybody else played with the PC client?
I do.
No, I
have it,
put
yeah.
in and I never heard back.
I got it.
Hmm. Maybe you're too far down the alphabet. No, but Tass has it and Vancila.
I just
It's pretty
directly,
awesome.
directly messaged him. I was like, hey man, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know, but code please. And he's like, sure.
Who'd you message?
Meathead.
Yeah. Well, I applied for the beta and then I got an email beta and then I like downloaded the EA desktop app. Couldn't find it. Like it didn't show up.
Yeah.
Reached out to Meathead and he fixed it for me. So he got me sorted
Same
out.
thing happened with me. Yep.
Nice.
I just applied and got it, and it's pretty awesome, I've got to say.
Yeah, they got to make some UI adjustments. There's a lot of negative space, and I got to bring up my reading glasses for certain things. But I only had one day where it was really buggy, and I sent it straight.
Yeah.
I told Meathead immediately. I was like, "Hey man, it's having a lot of hiccups, and I'm not running any other background." So I just sent him the footage, and he's like, "All right, thanks." But for the most part, yeah, it's crisp.
Are you running on a Windows 11 machine?
Yes.
So I'm on Windows 10 and I could share you guys screenshots here, but like the colors are either like super saturated or really, really dull and grayed out depending on
Oh,
how you
interesting.
toggle the graphics settings. Like especially in Fleet, like everything's just like gray washed and stuff like that. So like those are some minor issues, but as far as like frame rate, stability, like I've never seen it crash. Just greased lightning FPS, just absolutely gorgeous. So I know they'll dial it in, and you know I'm at the legacy end of a Windows machine, right? Like Windows 10 is still supported, but for however long, you know.
There are some audio bugs that I always apologize to my viewers because I blew out their eardrums. So there's some audio bugs with the PC client. You can have the audio turned all the way down. Darth Revan's Force Lightning and IG-12's like voice commands, whatever, like the no, the yes, they play at max volume.
That sounds like a feature, not a bug.
There you go.
Cool.
Fair.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm curious when they finally release it because it's pretty nice for anybody who likes to play on the PC, and for streamers like all you guys, all of
I
us.
can't use it yet because of the color issues. Like I'd rather start every few fights with BlueStacks and have it not look like hard boiled ass for a couple hours at a time.
Makes sense. On that delightful turn of phrase, anything for you guys to add here before we we turn it down for this season. Sanjita, anything? Last comments?
Nah, I'm good.
Tass?
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about the new season. Can't wait. I'll always enjoy the chaos set.
Definitely. And Seal, how about you?
Nope. Other than I think the main thing I'm going to be focusing on is just figuring out Bane on defense and just really diving into that project.
I cannot wait to look at the GG stats for Bane on defense. I'm very curious.
Van Seal's Bizarro World.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you again very much. Thank you everybody for listening, watching, etc. And talk to you next month. Cheers.
Yeah.